All right, everyone. Another episode of the Golden Goal Fantasy Football Podcast being brought to you by myself and my good mate Sam. How are you getting on, mate? How is life treating you at the moment? Are you feeling better after last week?
Yeah, I am, mate. It took a full week really to get back on my feet. So pretty much like today, if I'm brutally honest with you. So yeah, I went down with something, but yeah, all's good, mate. All is good. What about yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Yeah, I'm thankfully stayed away from this lurgy. It seems to be, well, we both live in the southwest. There's definitely a lot of people coming down with stuff at the moment that I know. So I expect it's only a matter of time before I get it too. How is
Yeah, I was only having.
Oh, sorry.
I was only having the conversation Wednesday morning with someone about it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I know a load of people that have gone down with it." I was like, I've avoided it. And then Wednesday afternoon, I was like a click of a finger, mate, as you know. So yeah, I did sort of speak too soon. Sorry, mate, I interrupted you.
That was all right. I was just asking how you got on in how your fantasy football week's been, and specifically Sky, I guess, for this podcast. How's your team looking?
Not too bad in Sky. I'm just pulling it up now. As everyone knows on the channel, like having a bit of a crap season, which has definitely taken the eye off it. Like in probably a good way, just not over analyzing anything, overthinking it, etc. So yeah, when did it start? Saturday, wasn't it? Yeah, yeah. I've had an all right week. I'm on like 120 points or something. I had like a 1,500 or rank rise, something like
Nice.
that. So like, or all of around 3.5k now. Something. Oh, it's embarrassing. But yeah, like pretty much returns all over the shop. I captained Martinelli on the day that I was
Very
on
nice.
Zachary.
That's very good. Yeah.
It wasn't a haul, but it was a win. I've had Ollie Watkins, I've had Tony, so yeah, Trippier, Dunk's been doing really well, mate. Nearly got rid of him. He's been under the radar, like flying along. Had a little look last night, so yeah, really happy. It's funny, we had that conversation, didn't we, about Watkins versus Haaland or whatever it was. Was it worth the move? And just a bit of luck, it turns out that it was. So many times that could have backfired, right?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like, I just feel so lucky that I went for him. I know it was quite a popular move, but even still, like, we got a very different Ollie Watkins to what I was expecting. Like, well, to be fair, this season he's been really good. How many goals he scored now? He's on 11 in the league. It's not actually tearing up trees with 11 goals in a season, I guess.
But but it's the nature of when the points started to happen.
They've all
right?
just come since we bought him, yeah.
So what his last kind of I don't know when we spoke about him. We had a question on it, didn't we? And we particularly spoke about it, but I'm not sure if that was either after the Everton game around that time.
Yeah, I feel like I might have had him for a blank against Crystal Palace, and he like got unlucky or something. I don't know. Might be talking out my bum, but and then yeah, it just came on from there. I'm pretty sure I bought him around the Crystal Palace Everton game that you were saying.
Yeah, that's when I think I had him as well. I think I've had him quite a few games now. I can't remember. I have to go back through, but 10 at Everton, 2 at Palace, 10 at West Ham, 8 at Bournemouth, 7 Chelsea, 10 Leicester. I knew he'd get shots bonus. I think we talked about that as well. Like he's a volumatic shooter, isn't he?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So yeah, really happy with his returns. Keep him for now, but I think we got a bit of luck that the decision was taken out of it in the end because Haaland missed Liverpool, didn't he? So we've kind of had a straight, clear kind of Watkins run really without any interruption.
It sounds absolutely mental, and if you were to tell me at the start of the season I'd be debating whether I actually need to sell Ollie Watkins to buy Mo Salah, I'd have laughed at you, but it really is the case of that at the moment. I've got a really difficult decision to make as to whether I sell him.
Yeah, you got 2 up top, have you?
I got 3, so I got Kane, Tony and Watkins. I'm looking to move Tony onto Haaland because I think Tony's about to get a ban. He'll either get a yellow against Man United or Newcastle. I'm almost sure of it, to be honest. So that means he's an easy swap to Haaland because I think Haaland's the priority for me to get in. Obviously, we'll see how he gets on this week, but he's back in training by the looks of it. So I just think he's going to play against Southampton.
They've actually got, I know they've got like a blank in the FPL senses coming up. They've got a really nice little run. Man City, I was looking at it earlier and I was thinking, yeah, I've got to get Haaland back in. I'll probably do the same for you with Tony. Tony hasn't been quite as points hauly Watkins, although he's been pretty consistent, hasn't he?
Yeah, I
10,
mean,
2, 9, 2, 9, 4, 9.
I
So
could.
that's
I,
kind of,
I guess the other player I could sell is Bruno Fernandes. If he doesn't do anything against Brentford, I'll probably have had enough of him by that point and want to sell him anyway. So maybe he will. But then I've got 3 up front, so I can't fit Haaland in. So yeah, it's going to have to be one of Tony or Watkins, I think. Very tough.
yeah. Yeah, no, I'm same boat, mate. It's going to be difficult. Which, like you said,
who are you on? Who are you on tonight out of interest?
I'm on Rashford, actually.
Yeah, me too. I didn't realise that I scheduled this stream for the kickoff of both the games, so apologies if you're multitasking watching this. But yeah, it was the only time I had this week to do this, so we just have to muck on.
Yeah, Newcastle had taken the lead against West Ham in the first 10 minutes. Callum Wilson with a goal and I want to say St. Maximin assist. Yeah, St. Maximin assist, and United still 0-0.
I know they don't. I don't think they have that many fixtures left. Newcastle. They're not one of the top teams for fixtures remaining. But I've just got the feeling that they've found the form that they did like just after the World Cup, because they were. I know Man United were terrible at the weekend, but Newcastle did look really good in that game.
It's because your man's back, innit? Your man Bruno G.
Yeah, he's so important to them.
He really is. Yeah, he played really well in that final against you. Like, even though he lost the game, he was very, very good. So he's been good all season. It's not just that game, is it? But yeah, it's no surprise he comes back in. Plus, they've got a nice looking little spine there, really, haven't they? Like Shah and Botman, Trippier is obviously classy, Bruno G, and then Wilson, Isaac's kind of, yeah. It's a good team. So I think they might get top 4. I think Howe might sort of hold on and unless they completely capitulate and drive them into those positions.
Yeah, I guess just depends if their team can stay fit. But I would agree with you on the top 4. I think of what the guys in contention, what are Chelsea, Tottenham, and Liverpool and Newcastle. I'd say Newcastle are probably the strongest team of that lot at the moment. On their day, I think Liverpool's probably the best, but they've not really had their day much this season.
We've talked about this at length on many pods, but this isn't just a blip in form. This is more than a blip in form. This is a team, a collective that's coming to the end of their cycle as a group. Legs are gone in a lot of players. That bite, that desire,
just is what it is. Yeah, players have gotten on a little bit, unfortunately, and they get used. Like under Klopp, they have been run into the ground, haven't they? That's just the nature of the way he plays. So naturally, they're gonna lose it at some point.
Yeah, exactly. If you look at the minutes of so many of the players, have been absolutely fragged. So yeah, it's a big summer coming up for Liverpool, but it looks unlikely that they're going to get Champions League. So it's interesting times. But I'd probably steer clear of Liverpool assets. I mean, did I say that Salah was involved in something like 47% of Liverpool's goals this season, either as a total or the Premier League? I mean, it is a vast amount. So if there's anyone to go for, it probably is Salah. And actually, you could probably argue that Alisson's a good shout, but there's so many good goalkeeper options there as well for cheaper and probably get more clean sheets. I mean, Alisson is just good for big saves, isn't he? So, yeah, I mean, asset-wise, Tom, it's only Salah, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and I don't know if you planned that far ahead in Sky, but do you have a plan yet for when you want to buy him? Or are you still just playing by ear on how they get on? To be honest, mate, the reason I asked that is because they've got a game against Arsenal on Sunday the 9th of April, where I think some people might bring him in, but for me, I'm not interested until they got the single on Monday the 17th against Leeds. I think that's the only time I really want him.
Yeah, I mean, I've got James Maddison, who could make way for Mo Salah, and still with enough money to bring Haaland in for Tony as well. So that can be done. I feel like I got a bit unlucky with James Maddison. Haven't really had much out of him. I've just let him sit there for quite a few games now. So I think
he's created a lot of chances for Leicester in the games that he's been playing, and yeah, just very unlucky that either his teammates couldn't put them in the net. To be honest, I think I can't remember the fixture. Was it against Southampton? He made like 2 or 3 goal scoring opportunities, and like Sevilla Nacho, and can't remember who else got on the end of one, but they just missed. So yeah, I think you're definitely unlucky with Maddison.
Yeah, I've got like 6 million quid in the bank, so I could kind of do Madison and Tony out for Salah. I mean, Salah's still outscored like so many midfielders. Crazy, isn't it?
I don't think Salah's having a bad season at all. I still
No,
think
he's not. He's having a good season in a poor team.
yeah.
So yeah, I can bring in Haaland and Salah for Madison and Tony and have still 0.3 million left in the bank, leaving me a very good side actually. So that's the contention. I'll just have to look at kind of fixture gains and things with Madison. I think that will be the move, which I'll go off and do like in the next coming days.
That sounds really good to me. Should we have a look at the game week 36 fixtures just to think what we're going to do with our teams and captains, etc. So thankfully this week we've only got 2 days of fixtures to manage. So Saturday the 8th of April we've got 8 fixtures. So we've got Man United, Everton, Wolves against Chelsea, Tottenham, Brighton, Leicester, Bournemouth, Fulham, West Ham, Brentford, Newcastle, Villa, Forest and Southampton at home to Man City. Normally I would say that Haaland is a very simple, easy captain on that day. Given he's just come back from injury, they've got Bayern midweek next week, and we see the Man United team. Do you think it could just be worth captaining Rashford and going safe? Or do you think Haaland's defo going to play?
No, I don't think he's definitely going to play. I think Alvarez is, warranted. I don't think that Alvarez is number one, but I think Alvarez has proved that he's more than a good make weight for Haaland. So if Pep feels that he doesn't need to rush Haaland back in and they can get the job done, which they can get it done against anyone, they've battered Liverpool to pieces. So I'd be a little bit concerned that Haaland's not going to come straight back in on the team. I think that's probably the question and the decision a lot of kind of fantasy managers have got coming up for this week if they have taken Haaland out, is whether to wait another game. But Southampton are dog. So it's a really plumb fixture, isn't it, for him? I mean, if it was just a bit more of a challenging fixture, you could probably bypass it. So I don't know. But then it's early kickoff curse, isn't it? Like, do you go Rashford and do you get like a 2-pointer or something?
I mean, Everton always seem to do well against Old Trafford as well. They play in a style that makes it difficult for Man United. They sit deep, they counter-attack, and that's exactly what Man United don't want to play against, especially with no Eriksen or Casemiro in their team. I think they might struggle in that one. So, yeah, just want to think about it, I guess.
Hasn't Bruno Fernandes done quite well against Everton in past seasons?
I think so.
He has, mate. He had couple of seasons ago, he had 2 goals at Goodison.
He did. I remember that.
Yeah. Even maybe an assist as well. I didn't captain him, so that's how I remember it. Then he had another one, I think, against Everton as well. So he could be not that, correlation, causation and all of that, but I think he's still a good asset there. Harry Kane against Brighton, if you're sort of looking for a man that could potentially get you 10 points, goal and shots bonus, super consistent.
Well, even though Spurs are crap and Brighton are good, he can just nick a goal against anyone, can't he? Sorry to cut you off.
No, it's bang on, mate. And all it takes is a penalty. Look at the Everton game, and he's got double digit return.
Well, could you do like if you've got Lewis Dunk? Do you think Dunk is the worst captain in the world there?
Yeah, I wouldn't go for it away at Tottenham personally. I don't think it's a terrible shout, but it'll be a little bit down on my list of kind of potential suitors. I think I'd prefer Ollie Watkins against.
I was just about to mention him too. Yeah,
over Dunk. Just let Dunk rock and roll. If Dunk gets a 10-pointer under the radar, fantastic.
Yeah.
But I don't think you stick him as cap.
Now you've just mentioned it, I really like Ollie Watkins. I think Man United Everton, I know on paper that sounds like a good fixture, but in my mind I just feel like Everton could give them a good game, whereas Villa Forest, I just think with the form that Ollie Watkins is in a bit of a hole that Forest are in at the moment, I can see that for Watkins. I can see that. I can see him getting some points from that one.
Yeah, I just don't like the fact it's a 12:30 kickoff for United.
Yeah, it's another factor. Yeah.
Wednesday today, so it's like a couple of day turnaround. They're playing now. Like tomorrow will be like, it's pretty fast turnaround, isn't it?
We have had a number of early kickoff curse games this season as well, haven't we? Like they're in Saturday, just in memory, most of the Saturday early kickoffs that I've watched have been pretty dull games, to be fair, with little to come out of it in terms of fantasy. So that's a fair point.
Yeah, I think there's apart from Saturday, of course, where Man City and Liverpool was a great game, actually.
Oh yeah.
I actually think here's an outside shout for anyone. I think Jack Grealish is a really good option for Saturday.
He seems to be nailed, doesn't he? Pep really likes him at the moment.
Yeah, but he's starting to affect games.
Yeah.
And I think that's positively. I think that's good from a fantasy perspective. I don't have his returns up here, but I think he's a nice little outside shout. I'm sure some people may be on him. I don't think he's prolific, but I just, from what I saw against Liverpool and just the last couple of games, I think he's passing the eye test for sure.
And then just looking at the Sunday, I'm just going to have a look at Grealish. Just on the Sunday, we got Leeds at home to Crystal Palace and then Liverpool at home to Arsenal. What are your thoughts on that day, mate? Is it a simple one for Saka for you, or are you thinking of going a bit different? I quite like Martinelli, to be honest, up against Trent. I don't know what you're thinking.
Yeah, I mean, there's some nice options. I think if I ditch Maddison from that Saturday game and I go for Salah, I might probably stick the armband on Salah. I just don't know. Don't think it doesn't necessarily mean Liverpool going to win, right? But I just think at Anfield,
I definitely think they can score, mate. 100%, yeah.
4:30 kickoff, big, top of the table kind of clash in terms of the team they're playing, not Liverpool, of course. 4:30 kickoff, sort of Liverpool crowd. Yeah, I think it's as good as it's going to get for Liverpool this season. Put it like that in terms of kind of atmosphere. And Salah's obviously had a little bit of a rest against Chelsea yesterday. Involved in high percentage of Liverpool's goals, penalties. I'm not predicting a Liverpool masterclass in any stretch of the imagination. But like the United game and like City at home, I think there's going to just be potentially a little bit more about Liverpool for that game. So I would actually be fairly inclined to stick it on Mo Salah personally. I think there will be people joining me, strangely, if that's the case. But I think if you're going with a sensible like Saka, really like Martinelli, any of those Arsenal assets, like Liverpool give up big chances. They let you play. That's what we're essentially doing. It's very un-Jurgen Klopp like, but we're giving away big opportunities and big chances, and those Arsenal attacking assets are lethal at the moment. So, I think if most people are going to go down that route, that I wouldn't argue that at all. I think Salah for me would be a little bit of an outside shout, but I might go for it.
I also think that no Saliba's a big factor for Arsenal at the moment as well. Having Rob Holding, I think Rob Holding plays there at the moment, doesn't he? So that's just an obvious one for me. I think Liverpool will definitely score. Arsenal probably win the game because I think overall they're a better team. But that doesn't mean, just by Arsenal winning the game doesn't mean that Salah's not a good captain. Because you're right, if Liverpool score, you can almost guarantee he's going to be involved in some way in the goal. So yeah. I can see it.
Yeah, and it's at Anfield. I think if it was at the Emirates, it'd be a different question for me. I think I would definitely shoot the emphasis onto Martinelli or whatever. I've got a feeling, actually, Tom, that Trent probably. I don't know if Trent will play on the weekend.
He got dropped again, didn't he? He got dropped in the week as well, I think. Who played in his place?
Yeah.
Was it just Gomez?
Joe Gomez. I think I'd like to say that, but Klopp's traditionally very loyal, which is what's causing a few issues. And therefore, that might be a reason that Trent comes back in. But I think actually, on merit, Trent shouldn't be playing, and that should be Joe Gomez.
I agree. I think that's the reason why he's not had such a good season and why he's not kicked on defensively is because he doesn't really have any competition in that squad. He's got no one pushing him for starts. He just knows that no matter what he does, he's going to play. I think Klopp absolutely. I don't think he deserves to start. I completely agree.
Yeah, whether or not the question remains whether or not he does or
think?
Doesn't. But I still think Martinelli, Jesus, Odegaard, Saka, they're fantastic. Trossard, they're fantastic options.
Well, not that I can fit him in because of the formation and the fact I've got Tony, Watkins, Kane, which is a really good front three. I really do like Gabriel Jesus as well. I think he's just not many people have got him in fantasy at the moment. But yeah, I think he's a really good option.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. He is.
Next up, I just had a quick look at the dragged off the clean sheet odds from Draft Town. It's nothing, not going to talk through it in too much depth. Usually show these every game week. And then top of the list, I don't think there's any real surprise seeing how these go, really. I think teams are sort of ranked by the difficulty of their fixture. Interesting that for the Liverpool-Arsenal game, Liverpool have slightly higher clean sheet odds than Arsenal. So, yeah, just an interesting one. But yeah, Arsenal 25% chance for clean sheet, which suggests to me that Liverpool are 75% likely to score. So, yeah, I think your argument with Salah works quite well there.
Yeah, definitely.
They're on screen for people to look at. Are there any sort of interesting ones that pique your interest, or I think that just reflects the difficulty of the fixtures for me, really?
Yeah, just looking at it now, yeah, there's nothing really kind of shocking or standing out there as such. I think, yeah, it's kind of exactly what you just said, kind of representative of the fixtures, which they usually are, aren't they, Draft Towns? They usually are, or always are, pretty damn good with that sort of thing.
And then I just peeled off, because we've only got, obviously Draft Town usually follows FPL game week, so game week 20, it's game week 30 in FPL, which is a single game week, so we can actually show the goal involvement in goal scoring odds rather than it being a double game week that construes things a little bit. So, but no surprise, Haaland's top of the list. This is obviously assuming he plays. He's top of the list for both goal involvement and goal scoring percentage odds. De Bruyne in second for goal involvement and Kane in second for goal scoring, and Jesus, Rashford, Alvarez, the guys that you'd expect towards the top of the list. I think it just sort of reflects, if you were to write down on paper who you think's most likely to score this week, I think it would follow this list quite well.
Yeah, it definitely would.
And then up next, I thought it was quite interesting. I was just looking at the top 1K transferred in on FF Stuff. All these stats now will come off of the ffstuff.co.uk website. And yeah, I couldn't quite believe how many managers brought in Bruno Fernandes. I didn't think it would be that high. But yeah, 360 managers in the top 1K brought in Bruno Fernandes for this sort of double game week for Man United, which I thought was quite interesting.
I really thought about it on that Sunday. Honestly, I did. Super close to doing it, so I can see why. He's been better obviously since Ronaldo's left.
He has,
but maybe still isn't the Ronaldo. It still isn't the Bruno of a couple of seasons ago, is it? When he was just like absolutely kind of indispensable for all fantasy managers.
And yeah, just other popular players to bring in. It's no surprise, really. It's all the Man United lot because they got so many fixtures. Lewis Dunk's in there, but again, we already talked about him. I think you've had him for a while, haven't you, Sam? And I don't think there are any real surprises on that list. It was just, I don't know. I was just quite surprised to see Bruno being so high, I guess, because he's not had, like I said, he's not had an amazing season. But I guess with the fixture gains that he's got, it was almost completely obvious. Like I sold Saka for him. And yeah, he plays, 2-3 fixtures in the time that Saka plays only one. So, plays nothing, sorry. I think it was a straight 3 for 0. So, makes perfect sense to go for him.
Yeah, definitely. Again, yeah. Jared Bowen in. I mean, we talked about that, didn't we? Just shown nothing really for me to warrant bringing him in, even as a punt.
Well, you say that, but I watched the game. Who did they played Southampton, didn't they? Was it Southampton? Yeah. It was. I watched the game around my dad's house while I was having a roast dinner, and he hit the bar. He got on the end of a load of chances that Southampton defenders really, really did well to block. He looked really dangerous in that game. I don't know if that's been the story of him all season, but yeah, he could have come away with a hatful in that game. I really do think so. So yeah, I don't think Bowen's a bad option as such. I just think I think the variance has hit him this season. Like last year, he had such a strong season compared to his underlying numbers. It's similar to Son, actually. Heung-min Son's another one where they overperformed their stats last season. And I think this year it's the chickens are coming home to roost a little bit and the variance is biting the two players.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough, mate. For anyone that's watching live, Rashford has scored for United.
Come on. That's good news. He's my captain in FPL as well, so I needed that.
Savitzer assist. Yeah, I captained him on one of my second chance teams on fan team, so very happy for that side.
Oh, Newcastle 2 up though. Who scored the second for them?
Joelinton.
Joelinton. Oh, that's okay. Fair enough. Hopefully Bowen gets one because he's in my fan team. So I'm hoping he's my little differential in that. After watching the Southampton game, I'm hoping he can do something against Newcastle. We'll see. Also saying that Luke Shaw's looking for passes as well. It's looking like he can get passes.
Yeah, he's taken a yellow card already, so that'll be a point off.
Fair enough.
As long as he maintains to sort of the 60 mark, Tom, and gets passes, it'll be all good. I own him as well. I don't know about you.
What, Luke Shaw?
Yeah.
No, I didn't go for him. I just didn't fancy him because of the passing, and I just didn't go for him. Probably should have done just for the fixture gain, but I just didn't fancy it in the end.
No, fair enough.
Up next, I had a quick look at the fixture grid just to see if there are any major fixture gains or anything. I might be completely missing something, and that's fair enough. But I didn't. I'm not really being lit up too much by potential transfers, which is a bit of a shame because I've got like 15 left, and we've got how many game weeks? What, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? What's that? 7 game weeks left, and I've got 15 moves, and I don't know how I'm going to spend them. There's just nothing on this list at the moment that's screaming out to me as an absolute nailed-on transfer. I don't know about yourself.
Yeah, I'm the same, mate. I've got 15 left as well.
I think at some point I'll have to buy Salah because they play Leeds and it's a single game day, so that's one transfer used on him. But other than that, mate, I'm not seeing a great deal.
No, I mean, do you think you mismanaged your transfers?
No. No, I don't. I think because I feel like I've wasted more transfers than I've gained from, if that makes sense. So I almost feel like I've spent too many, but I have loads left. Yeah, it's a weird one.
If Ian Parrin's watching now, he'd been screaming at the screen at that question, me going, "Didn't you wasted them or mismanaged them?" Because he's the man that talks about keeping as many transfers as possible. So no, it's just interesting to hear your thinking now. I don't think I've been in a position where I've had so many towards the end.
Me neither.
15? Would we class 50? I mean, where do you class that?
I'd 15? Say we're above average on 15. I feel like I'd be uncomfortable if I had less than 10. And I think the average is probably, the average, we'll see what the average transfers figure is when Sky tweets them out at some point, but I'd say the average is probably between 10 and 12 now. So I think we're just on the upper edge with 15.
Yeah, so absolutely, yeah, I think I'd agree with you there. I think if you've got 20 and in a good place, you can really afford to, you could have some fun in the last couple of weeks.
And to be fair, I remember when one of the first seasons that I played Sky, I did the same and I left a few transfers, although the final day, pretty much all the games will be played on the same day, won't they? But I remember leaving my transfers for the final 2 weeks and just targeting 1 or 2 teams that still had something to play for. And I just spent 5 transfers in the last week. And that single-handedly got me to win my mini league. Even just saving 5 transfers for the last, or 2 or 3 transfers for the last week, and then moving on to teams with something to play for could, benefit you in points. So I guess maybe that's the mindset I should have rather than thinking, how the hell do I spend my 15 transfers?
Yeah, something always crops up. Injuries, like you said, teams that got nothing to play for that are then deaded. It happens every single year. Some player hits form towards the end of the season every single time. You're like, where the fuck have you come from? And suddenly you want to bring them in. It happens. I've seen it every year. Maybe not the final week, but the final kind of 4 or 5 or 6 games. There's always a sending off here or there. And so, yeah, I think having an abundance, or not abundance, but a nice handful of transfers towards the end is ideal.
And I guess, Brighton, obviously, they have the most fixtures of any Premier League team left this season. So I think I'll be spending some transfers on Brighton players. I know we had a question from Ian last week on how many Brighton players do you think the average man's going to go for. I think, just thinking aloud, I was a bit put off by the idea of going for their midfielders like Mitoma, March and McAllister and stuff like that. But the more I think about it, the more I think it's probably worth it. Just because of the sheer gains of fixtures they have. And yeah, I mean, I've got Bruno Fernandes at the moment, and I feel like, regardless of value, I think someone like Solly March or Mitoma is probably better just on paper than Fernandes at the moment. We'll see Lewis Dunk from defence, and Well, it's Webster. I think Webster's playing quite consistently now, isn't he, as well? So he could factor into things.
The thing about McAllister, by the looks of it, he's not really picking up much bonus. He's getting a bit of shots, but there's not any sort of tackles or passes going on there. I think Matoma's a good shout, mate. Look at that for consistency.
Yeah, 5'8", 5'5", 11, 2, 4, 10, 8. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think he could be like you said. You could bring in 3 or 4 of their midfielders, and then hop back off should you want to hop back off at some point. Casado's ticked over as well. 5, 4, 3, 2, 5. Like, I know that's not blowing the world of light. He's picking up some bonuses there.
Yeah, he definitely is. Yeah,
I think Dunk's a great shout. Obviously, I've got Dunk. Stupian as well.
Yeah, could go for him. Yeah, absolutely. And to be fair, with his Stupian, he picks up not only passes but tackles too. So he's got a couple of backups for bonus. And to be honest, we'll see how consistently he plays, because I think it's not necessarily a hop-on point for Brighton players at the moment, I wouldn't say. See how they get on. But I think Webster might become an option as well if he starts playing consistently again.
Yeah. He was really good last season, wasn't he?
Yeah, it's just whenever he can stay fit, he's great. But yeah, it's just his fitness is a bit of an issue.
Yeah,
right.
Definitely. Yeah, bring him in and then you've got to transfer him back out.
Should we have a quick look at our mini league and then call it? I don't think we've got any questions from Twitter this week, but not that matters too much. I think we probably discussed all the topics. I'll just have a quick run through of the mini league. So still top of the pops, we've got David Baxter, who I know, thank you, David, you always retweet and like our tweets about the pod on Twitter, so I really appreciate that. And yeah, you deserve fully to be top of our mini league. Name we all know, Glenn Murray, is in second place. He's really clawing it back on David, actually.
Fair play to Glenn.
Plucky old Glenn. Yeah, he's done well there.
Out of nowhere, isn't he?
He has. Apparently Luke Shaw is injured, by the way.
Really?
Done a hamstring by the looks of it. Straight after signing his new contract as well.
Yeah, it is what it is. I don't get too stressed on. Actually, I do, but I'm going to try not to. It
is what it is. I feel like you could quite comfortably transfer him out for someone else now. You've got your games out of him. And then we got Martin in third, Dean Hicks in fourth, Shane White in fifth, Cian McKenna in sixth, Ian Parrin in seventh, Martin with his second team in eighth, Shane with his second team in ninth, and then Tim rounding out the top 10 in 10th. So yeah, all to play for in this league. I think, yeah, Glenn's hot on the tails of David, and to be fair, Martin and Dean, and Shane's getting up there as well. It's a close, so yeah, interesting to see who takes it. I think probably the winner's in the top 10 now. I'm not sure we'll see anyone sneak in from outside the top 10, but yeah, just be interesting to see who takes the biscuits.
Yes, mate. We'll keep a close eye on it, and like you said, the season end is fast approaching. So yeah, be interesting to see how it finishes. Any more, mate? No, it's all good, I think
we've covered everything. Yeah, if you're watching this back on YouTube and you've got another question, if you leave us a comment, I'll try and answer it, or one of us will try and answer it. And we're also, you'll know it's on Spotify because you're listening to it on Spotify. But I'll also be putting this one up on Spotify because I've just discovered that I can press the record button and stream at the same time. So I'll upload this to Spotify later on as well. So you can listen to it rather than watch it if you enjoy that.
Nice.
Good. All right, we'll leave it there. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers, folks.
Adios.
Good luck next game week.